Okay, so there is one thing I just wanted to change real quick with our... I never bothered even putting it over here. Our action list. I might as well bring all these out anyways. Well, not that one. So this action list, we have action menu is this guy. I'm gonna add another layer to that. We'll call it action menu main. And I'm actually gonna parent this one to it. And then that way I'm gonna grab the main instead. And the reason for that is if I have this anchor point here and the action menu is there, the one thing that we could do here is move this over. And I'll show you why. So if we have a health window and we have our holder and we drop in a health. So this guy's position is here. And if I take this menu, main, and I line it up roughly with there, I want this window to be sitting roughly around maybe like that, because we're going to be moving this action window to the health. But now we can move the main. Oh, there we go. That makes more sense. And the main doesn't need a... Alright, yeah, we want to make sure we get that. There we go. The y could be 0, but we're about negative 100 on the x. There we go. So his anchor point's over here. The other thing we could do is add an animator. And we can create an animator somewhere. Animator controller. Give it some kind of name. Drop the thing in. So if this guy is here, he's at the highest point he's ever going to be. And you know what? I want this to have a little more. I'm going to go full. I don't want any transparency. I don't like the look of that. So that's the highest it's going to be. So what I'm saying is, if we go to the animation and we say menu hide, and there's numerous things we could do. We could play with a scale and I'll make it dance around and be a little monkey or something, who knows. But I'm just going to take it and I'm going to drop it right down quite far. Position still negative 100 on the y. Oops. And yeah, so we're 0 on the y here. Negative 500, sure. There. And that's pretty much it. So for the animator, we would have, menu hide. We need a way to trigger this. And I'm just going to duplicate this. And this one, we're going to call it menu show. Oops. and I'm going to play it at -1 speed. And now we can just go like this. So if we're going to show that off, hide is false. If hide is true, go that way. And really all that's going to do is, oh, that's the other thing we got to fix. So menu hide, we don't want looping. Looping bad. Right, so we go to the animator, and if we say hide, it goes away. Tell it to unhide, it comes back. So, and if you want to play with the scale, whatever, you twist it, turn it, play with the alpha, whatever, you can do that. Right, like we could, for example, at this stage have this guy's alpha at 0, and then over at this stage make sure his alpha is at 100. Right, if we also wanted to, we could scale him 0 on the X. Right, make sure when he's over here that he is 1. Right, we totally doable. You can kind of just play with it and do whatever you want. You also don't even need to go in a straight line. You can go halfway. Move this thing over there. Right, and you can add all the keyframes you want. So, now that we have that done, we want to access that. Right, because over here we tell it to activate, or while we activate it, we also want to tell this thing to to be open. Right, so that was that object. We want hide to be false. And that's the action menu. Just like that. The other thing we want to do is we want to from our status we have a health bar. So we want to get that because we want the position. So we want to get the position underneath of your health bar. Bear. Look at my awesome at spelling. So we get health position. And we're going to move the action menu space world to health position. So now it'll match up to this guy when it's his turn. Right, when it's the other person's turn, it actually goes. It'll move down to their spot. So this whole thing moves with the people. Pretty fancy. All right. So one of the other things we're going to want to facilitate this is in our ATB, which is the battle queue. Here we have our current object, right? We just run that queue. One of the things we also want is this current to be an output. Right? So it pops up here. So we could say our current player. We'll use that since we already have it apparently. Yeah, you know what? No, let's let's make our own variable, current battle player. All right, so action-wise, yeah, we do have an action. So our action lists, like that, these things do need a tiny bit of logic. And all it is when they get clicked on, we need to get its child, which is a text element. And we need to get UI text. So we're retrieving the text from the text element. We're getting the current player, which I'm just going to use this for a second, from player state, our current battle player, which will always be updated because the current battle player is a current player that is activated in the ATB list. And then we want to send event, oh, not like that, send event by name. Get rid of that one. We're going to send event by name to the current battle player, an FSM called actions. Actions, and the event is going to be whatever's in this action list, and that's pretty much her. I'm just going to finish so that you can hit it numerous times if need be. So that also means on our player, we're going to need, for example, things like limit, and attack, whoops, not even in the right section. Oh, I think I spelled that one wrong. But more importantly, you want to make sure they match these things. So let's go to that item. Where was that? That guy. Runaway. It's not called flee. It's called runaway. There, let's just do that. There we go. So when it's this character's turn in the battlefield, everything gets registered. The window pops up. Our actions get created. Depending on which action you click on, the button itself sends the text of what you clicked on back to the player, saying you selected this, this, or this, or whatever else you might have here. So then it's a matter, you can just build these out or just build them individually for each class. But I think that's where we'll probably end this one today, and then tomorrow we'll get into what these things actually look like and what they mean.